So I'm Cheryl. I've got two lovely, gorgeous kids at home. I've finally gotten out for the day.
Remember that.
So I've got a 7-year-old. He's autistic and ADHD. He's PDA, and which is pathological demand avoidance, and he's ARFID, which is an eating disorder. And I'm having to homeschool him now because of all the anxiety and all the stress that he's had throughout his whole little life, that he can't physically get out of the house often because he just goes into complete shutdown, which is a lot on me. And then my little 19-month-old has just recently been diagnosed with global developmental delay with an expressive language delay. He's also looking at autism spectrum disorder as well. But that brought us to my husband and I looking at how could we help these two young little boys live out their lives, improve their mental health, because we had a little boy that was crying on the floor going, "Mummy, please don't make me go to school. Yeah. I can't deal with it." And my heart's breaking, my husband's heart's breaking, and then we looked at ourselves and gone, hang on a minute, we struggled like this when we were children too. Figured out that we're both autistic and ADHD ourselves, went through the assessments and all that stuff. We're in both in burnout. I've had to stop working to be able to help my boys 24/7. My husband's in complete burnout, but he can't stop. He can't take time off to get better because he's the only one bringing in money.
So Cheryl, I'd love you to put your question to the panel.
Yeah. So when we decided to apply for NDIS for ourselves, we were told that we were not disabled enough, as we were able to look after our family and our children, that we had a marriage and a job. So how is this fair on the parents and the children and the community at large?
Sam, I'll start with you.
Yeah, Thank you for that. One of the really big issues that we've had in the past has been where we have this idea of informal support, you know, that we have a husband or we have a wife or we have, I was told that my scout troop were an informal support. They didn't know that they were informally supporting me in the community when they were pushing me up a hill, but there we go. There's a lot of the issues that we've had, I think, around NDIS have been around people looking for reasons to justify people not getting into the scheme and limiting and capping support. It's been a massive issue for people with disability, especially in the autistic community. I know that I'm autistic and have ADHD as well, and also have children who have ADHD and are autistic as well, so absolutely know what you're saying. It's really become a massive issue, especially when people, autistic people, are demonised and you know, saying that we're causing the scheme to blow out and this kind of thing. The reality of it is that a lot of people who are autistic need just a little bit of support in order to go a long way. And so getting rid of those barriers is going to do the scheme overall.
Yeah. Bill Shorten, I want to bring you in as the Minister responsible. The government announced that it is essentially getting a new growth target of 8% for the NDIS. Inevitably, you know, basic maths would tell you some people are going to have to miss out if you're reining it in like that.
First of all, I've got to just say to you, Cheryl, with your individual matter, let's get your details. Like, the decisions are made independent of politicians, but I think I mentioned in an earlier answer, my office has taken up 13,000 matters, so, you know, we'll talk to you about your individual matter, but going to your bigger point and the point that Sam made. First thing I've got to say is, you know, Mark, Sam, people have had bad experiences. That's your truth, and that you have had bad experiences, and I'm not going to gaslight you and say you haven't. I feel no obligation to justify the 9 years of the coalition. But what I do need to say to everyone who's watching this, who's either on the scheme or actually knows nothing about the scheme, under Labor, the NDIS is here to stay. We want to make sure every dollar gets through to the participants for whom the scheme was set up. The scheme is not capped. I don't have a view that if in April of a financial year we've spent the money, we tell everyone with a disability, your disability will be magicked away for 2 months to come back on July the 1st. So,
no, but you are reining in its growth,
yeah, I'm
Minister.
coming up, but it's important I said it because this NDIS is too important for quick 5-second grabs. I think there is waste in the scheme, but I don't start from the proposition that's the fault of the participant. But I do think that there have been clumsy decisions made by the agency, so we intend to invest in the agency so we can stop some of the stupidity, because if you get the initial plan right, then a lot of the other grief doesn't happen. But beyond that, there is unethical behaviour. There are some service providers, and there's a lot of great ones, OK, a lot of great ones. But let's tell the truth. There are some service providers who, when they see someone come along, they ask the family, do you have an NDIS package or don't you? And if you have an NDIS package, they charge double.
That's right.
There are people right now, you can go on, we saw it on Gumtree recently, where you've got a service provider providing accommodation support. They're selling the business and they're selling the person. It's almost akin to human trafficking, where they say, oh, this is a good 300K a year business, and you've got the client as well. I think I can reduce the rate of growth, which is at 14%, and get it to more a rate of growth around 8% as a target, not a cap.
Just on
cleaning up the
Rawls
system.
alone.
Listen, I challenge the ABC to go and survey all the listeners, say, do you think that some providers are having a lend of the scheme? And I tell you what, you'll get 90% yes.
Is it $74 billion worth of Rawls?
Yes.
The number you're quoting is over 10 years. The reforms.
No,
OK, here's a couple of simple reforms we're putting in. This has been a bit of the debate, and I get that we've got to bring people with us and we've got to test it and keep refining it. But at the moment, 70% of participants are on an annual plan. That is just lunacy. It means that everyone focuses on getting the money.
What are you basing it on, Bill? Like when you're saying, I mean, it's...
Well, I just happen to know that 70% of people roughly
2014, Tony Abbott said that we were going to have a growth target around health and education, and you came out very strongly and said it's a cut, right? So
Sammy, I know deep in your heart you're not comparing me to Tony Abbott, and you don't think he's the same guy.
No, but what she's trying to do... what she is trying to do
I've not
is
seen you in budget
hold you to
cycles, so
account
I don't
about
know.
what you're going to do. So I just want to get a clear answer on this.
But it's a
Are you
cut,
going to
right?
get it to an 8% growth target, which is a reduction in the spending, just dealing with rorts alone?
Well, there's 6 reforms, actually. One is better capability in the agency. Second one is stamping out unethical behaviour. Third one is to tackle price gouging. Fourth one is to get the states to step up. I know I'm meeting them on Friday.
But they haven't made any commitment to that. I want to bring you in, Bridget, because you were in fear...
I didn't mean to interrupt your question with an answer. OK, go on. No, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll pay for that. If you're going to kill me on Radio National, I'm dead man walking. Sorry.
Set your clock to it, friends. Yep.
Click. I'm in furious agreement with Bill around the provider piece. As someone that represents the regions, we were hearing these horrific stories of providers flying maybe from Melbourne up into, Mildura for that sake, visiting 3 different clients and charging each of them for the one airfare. Just incredible. So I think that's fantastic. I think Bill actually has the toughest job in government. This is a critical scheme for all Australians. We are all behind a successful and sustainable NDIS for our most vulnerable. And, he's got to make that happen with the budget pressures that he's got. And it's not going to be easy. The Prime Minister is relying on Bill Shorten to get this right.
No pressure. No pressure, Bill Shorten.
But the good news is I'm relying on Sam and everyone else to keep me honest.
But so are all, disabled and vulnerable Australians and their families, that this scheme needs to be world-class for us all.
It's changing lives.
Yeah.
OK, thank you so much, Cheryl, for sharing your story.